footnotes for our review will be the campaign and spec ops modes, of course. When it comes to the campaign, I thoroughly enjoyed it due to it being very engaging, and that's credited to the standout missions they had this year when it comes to things like Piccadilly, you have Clean House, Going Dark, the Embassy, and yeah, and also due to the gameplay variety, because you have a sniper segment, you have to count for the bullet drop. In travel distance, you have your night vision goggle missions that combine some stealth elements with them. You also have other things like point and click, air support. And when it comes to campaign, I'll have to say it is the best of this console generation, to be specific, and I enjoyed it and I look forward to Infinity Ward's future works when it comes to that storytelling. I enjoyed the campaign, but ooh, I thoroughly dislike Spec Ops. This mode is not engaging, not fun at all. It is very frustrating, very repetitive, very tedious to play. They locked a decent amount of the outriders behind this mode. It's not even worth going for. The rewards aren't even worth it. And yeah, with the bad taste in my mouth from my first experience playing this game mode, it being, buggy, lack of polish, and not fun. I don't care how many new operations and missions they add to it. I will never play this game mode again. So with the Spec Ops campaign squared out the way, we're doing the bulk of our review now, which would be the multiplayer, and we would like to make this a rolling review because multiplayer experiences tend to be more dynamic than static, unlike the PvE stuff when it comes to campaign and Spec Ops. We'll be going over all the title updates they had when this game first launched, and our most recent one, patch 1.09. We'll start off with the loadout customization, building a class and all that, and we will take it from there. Modern Warfare sports a more traditional creator class system by removing the pick 10 and opting in for their classic tier perk system with the 1, 2, and 3. Of course, they have simplified the loadouts, making it very easy and more accessible for new players, which is a good thing in my opinion. My only problem with this, of course, is that they haven't done it completely right when it comes to the information, when it comes to even regarding the perks and the gunsmith in general. For example, when it comes to EOD, you have to press triangle to find the more, find out more information about that perk, and you're able to reset the fuse with frag grenades, but you wouldn't know that unless you've checked or you've just been randomly throwing grenades back in public matches. But with that out the way, we're going over one thing I think they have done really well in this game, and is the gunsmith, of course. Now with the gunsmith, my only problem with this is they don't have all the information available for new players. For example, the AK has 3 stocks that will increase your ADS speed. That is the skeleton stock, the no stock, and the FSS close quarter stocks, aka the flaming shit show. But all these stocks increase your ADS speed, but to what degree? The only way you'll be able to find this out, of course, by going in the game and testing in a private match or a public match or checking those stat bars, but they're not the most accurate. And another thing is, when it comes to pros and cons in this game, with the attachments, the descriptions can contradict each other sometimes, or some of the attachments don't work, like their pros and cons are actually flipped, like the M4, tac light barrel. So hopefully stuff like that gets fixed in the future. They had a great solution in the beta, and it was a lot more simpler, with the more plus emblems or negative emblems in your pros and cons section. I would like to see them go back to that system because it's very simple and easy to understand, and it will make, making a loadout a lot more easier and accessible for new players. So after crafting a beautiful loadout, you hop into multiplayer, you want to play some of these maps, and oh my god, these maps are terrible. The obscure sight lines, the terrible visibility, the bad spawns, my god, the bad spawns. But yes, when it comes to maps overall, I feel like, well, one, they lack variety. Like, they're all cluttered and clustered, and I could say intricate, which they all promote a lot more slower gameplay, which is fine, but you just need more variety. And when it comes to map selection overall, it is some of the worst I've seen in any multiplayer experience, and that's including Call of Duty. That's all the games. But yeah, I am sounding overly harsh to Infinity War when it comes to maps. But with the direct deposit they received when the game came out, with the praise that their bosses gave them from, 600 million within the first week, and the bonus they will receive in the future, they'll be fine. They can take some heat on the maps. But my biggest problem with them is some of these maps feel too big for their respective playlists. Adia Palace is the worst offender when it comes to this because there are 5 flag points to capture on domination in the 10v10 playlist. And I have no idea because before the game came out with the pre-marketing hype and build-up and all that, they had this map featured as a 20v20 map, right? And it was a bit too big for 20v20, so instead of moving it to ground war, they moved it to 10v10. And it just shows a lot of incompetence, really, because in daily messages, they'll show Ania Palace as a ground war map, but it only has 10v10. And of course, it's very hard to see people on maps, especially Azir Cave, and of course being in the cave, of course. So hopefully they can fix out more lighting updates and patches. And my last gripe when it comes to maps, well, not really when it comes to this map, but it would be the tanks on this map, and it is the quarry, and it's how people camp with tanks on the hill for the entire game, dropping like 100 kills. And this was really bad when the game first released because there was an exploit with Point Man, you get your kill streaks and get a nuke to end the game while camping on a hill with a tank. And yeah, the problem with this, it's very hard to counter tanks on this hill. Most people just try to avoid them. And the reason why it's hard to counter these tanks is because they have, pinpoint accuracy at any distance, so you can actually counter snipe with the tank, counter snipe snipers in a tank with ground war. So hopefully they can adjust the tanks further, maybe make an adjustment to quarry when it comes to putting some barricades to block tanks on that. But I think Shoot House map is in the right direction, but it only has one problem, and that is the flying head goose that overlooks the middle lane, and it's only used for getting your mountain and long shot challenge kills. My problem with this is that the game really forces you to go out the way to get some of these camo challenges done. For example, you gotta get 100 kills while crouching, 100 kills while mounting, and this definitely, impacts the game's pace in a negative way because people just stop moving. And when you have challenges like this, you have to dedicate time to doing them, or it will take forever to get done naturally, like hipfire kills or headshot kills. So hopefully they can make some, tweaks and adjustments to this camo progression when it comes to some of these challenges that will, improve game speed, and of course add some maps that will encourage a bit more moving and movement. They have done that with patches that increase the ADS speed for SMGs and movement speed across the board. So it looks like they're in the right direction, on the right path. But we'll go into actual player and level progression now. Now, they got rid of the prestige system this year. They went with an officer system, so after you hit 55, you just keep ranking up till you hit 155. You get a couple rewards at the end, and they have these ribbon challenges you would do, which is basically your barrack challenges from previous years. But yeah, the main problem with this is that, well, one, a lot of them were bugged when the game first came out, especially doing work, which is more of a coin flip challenge that, yeah, depending on whether or not you would get it done, if you're lucky or not. And with the latest patch, they have fixed that. If you had one of them done, you got awarded with all of them. Another problem with this is when it comes to the emblems and calling cards, so, they're pretty bare and pretty dry. Maybe I have to do more mission challenges and all that. But when it comes to emblems specifically, you can't make your own emblem. And you were able to do this in all the previous games, recently at least. Black Ops 4, World War II, Infinite Warfare. So, yeah, I don't know why they went away with that. Hopefully it's patched in future updates. And when it comes to mission challenges, I don't like these because, one, you have to actively select them. And it just feels like a cheap way to artificially increase, player time, or player play time and all that. So, and they were bugged, of course, obviously. And that was another problem with them. But some of them have been fixed. There has been some stuff to unlock, but most of the rewards with these aren't really that good. And they have, some XP awards, some decent calling cards, some decent sprays and all that. But yeah, most of them just aren't worth doing. But now we'll be going into, the title updates on the patches that occurred within the game. We had patch 1.05, 06, 07, 08, and 09. So there's a lot of stuff to cover. We won't be going over all these patches in depth, of course, because, well, one, the information is available, and you guys are nerds, so you guys already looked at those patches and all that. But we'll be going over, a summary and all the big points and try to address these title updates.
Enemy in Charlie, go!
So our first batch of patches was patch 1.05, which was a day 1 update, so just general stability and bug fixes, nothing too major here, but 1.06 had some balancing updates when it came to the tank specifically, and you're no longer able to earn a nuke while camping a tank, and they said they fixed the point man exploit, but that this was fixed in a later patch. Yes, players able to get their kill streaks really fast using point man using tanks and ground war. Apparently you're able to stun claymores now in this patch, which was a feature in previous Call of Duty games, had patched in this one. They said they made an adjustment to footstep audio, but this obviously wasn't true. They fixed issues with attack inserts that spawning players out of bounds. The gold camo wasn't unlocked from 357. They said it was fixed, but it wasn't fixed, and they had a playlist update. They added night vision goggles for TDM, ground war, gunfight, kill confirmed, and free for all. And that's all for patch 1.05 and 1.06. We will now get into our other major patches, 1.07, 08, and 09. Patch 1.07 was the first major content and balancing update. Of course, this introduced 2 new maps, Kravnik Farmland and Shoot House. And they did a lot of, bug fixes, balancing updates. We'll get into that. First, the Riot Shield had a broken animation with the throwing knife, with them not taking any damage and just insta-giving you with the throwing knife. They definitely nerfed the claymores heavily in this patch, and they made EOD a lot more effective when it comes to countering claymores. When it comes to battle chat, they removed your character's ability, so now only you hear it from teammates. Your guy's not constantly, running around the battlefield shouting, "Contact! I see movement!" But they did make good fix to that. When it came to mounting, they added a slight increase to recoil while mounting, so it would be a bit less campy, but it's still amazing while mounting. They said they made a global adjustment to the lighting, but on some of these maps there's no difference at all, and on St. Petroglyph it actually got a bit worse. Again, they had to adjust the footstep audio when it comes to you ADSing and crouch walking, and just walking at normal speeds. They had more challenge and progression bug fixes because a lot of challenges and mission challenges were bugged and still currently are bugged. They did fix the reloads after kill challenges for all the weapons, so it's a bit more natural and easier to do. And when it comes to the major nerfs, the 725 and the M4, everyone was nerfed, of course. They apparently nerfed the ADS spread. They increased the ADS spread and nerfed the hipfire spread for the 725, and they set to reduce the damage range. The M4, they reduced the damage range, they gave it a small recoil increase, and when it comes to 5.56 rounds all around, they reduced their long range damage range. And when they gave them big buffs to all the SMGs, they increased their ADS speed, they increased their move speed, and they have a small reduction in their sprint out time. And another buff to add is that the FAL got a buff, so it's a lot more usable now. And when it comes to miscellaneous fixes, for example, on Piccadilly, on Domination, they moved the flag to the middle of the buses instead of it being by the fountain, so it's a lot more even on Domination. But with that out the way, we'll be going over our next big updates, which would be, well, really not really big updates, but 1.08 and 1.09. That's 1.09, the big one. The community manager's words, not mine. But this patch was pretty disappointing because, one, it really didn't add much content. I mean, it added Spec Ops. Come on, it's Spec Ops, not even a good mode to begin with. They did add gun game, of course. They added a realism mosh pit that has like hard point, headquarters, stuff like that. And those were good changes. But other than that, it was really just a lot of miscellaneous bug fixes when it comes to, nameplates on maps like Piccadilly, people being able to copy their kill streaks from other people's loadouts, and people able to loot their kill streaks. They did shorten the time of animation for executions, that'll make them a bit easier, and they fixed the kill feed. They did some stuff with CDL rules and private matches. Yeah, other than that, it was just a lot of bug fixes, not much content being updated. Only thing they added was the Spec Ops content. Spec Ops just isn't good to play at all, if you ask me. But other than that, they did apparently nerf the tanks, but they're still deadly accurate, so that really didn't do anything at all. And of course, they fixed some progression challenges. The big example would be doing work, and they have aggression, expert gunsmith. one trick pony, stuff like that. Just a lot of bug fixes overall with little content added. There was a lot of content added with this patch because it was 12 gigs, but you know, it was data mined and will probably coming out when the season comes out. It will probably be sometime in December. But with that out the way, y'all be safe. Actually, hold up. There is one misconception I would like to get out the way. It's multiplayer. So, I would like to preface this by saying I do like the multiplayer. I enjoy it. I just don't like some of the aspects of design choices they want in this game. That's specifically with the maps and the matchmaking. We already talked about the maps, but we will go into the matchmaking for a brief tangent. When it comes to skill-based matchmaking, it makes all these games, you know, very stale. Like, it's a lot of me using the M4 and the MP5 and just keep camping to get my kill streaks.
I hit him though.
It becomes very stale and repetitive. If you play at a party, it's not as bad, but when you're playing solo, it's really bad. It's night and day. You can see the reverse boost and stuff people have done. I haven't reverse boosted, but I don't care if people do it because that's what you need to do to make the game fun. Go ahead, you're not cheating or anything. So, and another misconception with the whole skill-based matchmaking, people act like if you tone it down or remove it from the game, that it's just going to be a bunch of top-tier players playing against bots. And for anyone that's thinking that, I can just assume that we've all taken, some form of statistics class because this is a mature-rated game.
We are not cut for
gunfighting. I can just assume we all taken some form of stats class. And you've done that, and you at least know about, standard deviation and a bell curve. And a very small portion of players are, considered bot-like or potatoes. And a very small portion of them are considered, god tier or pro-level players. So I don't get that whole misconception that if you remove skill-based matchmaking, you're gonna have a bunch of, bots getting bought by 6-man party stacks. But yeah, whatever. Yeah, when it comes to skill-based matchmaking, hopefully it could be toned down, or just toned down, just toned down a little bit, because it gets really ridiculous how there's, a violent swing in skill levels in matches. I don't know how it's going to, encourage new players when if you're a new player, you're finally starting to do well. You got a good loadout, you're on a familiar map. Let's say you're playing on Hackney Yard, you're putting the pieces together, again, their words, not mine. You're able to, get your kill streaks, you have a good game. You go, let's say 21-7, right? So 3.0, not the best game out there, but it's still a good game. And as a new player, you will know, well, you're not going to be good at every game. In this game, you get thrown into a match and you're getting your teeth kicked in or punched in the mouth. Again, their words, not mine. You got punched in the mouth because you had one good game as a new player. How is that encouraging new players? Like, if anything, it just makes the game really inconsistent. Like, you'll finally think, hey, I'm doing well, putting it together, I'm making smart decisions, I got a good loadout, I'm on a map I actually like. But then the next game, you're getting punched in the mouth for no reason. So hopefully they get toned it down so it's not those drastic changes, or because when you have bad games, you're gonna get an easy ass lobby, and it just makes the games feel very manufactured and stale. So it's not a genuine experience at all, because how can you say you're getting better if you just have a bad game and you get put in a lobby full of bots? But with that out the way, y'all be safe. I'm out. I enjoy multiplayer. I look forward to what they're going to do with the first season of content. Hopefully they add in a lot more maps. Of course, CTF was added in the combat records, but not as an actual game mode, because why would that makes sense, because that's too easy. But with that out the way, y'all be safe. I'm out. Of course, there was a hotfix on the day I planned to publish this video, but I'll just go over that real quick. So you can now have 4-player parties in gun game. They moved free-for-all to the quick play filter menu. They fixed joining in progress with free-for-all games, but this seems to be bugged really bad. They turned off the spawn camera fly-in for headquarters and hardpoint, which is a great addition. They removed the infills for both teams for Piccadilly on S&D. They fixed the bug with the thermal optic on the PP-19 Bison. They fixed the EOD so you can now hack claymores in free-for-all. Apparently they fixed various boosting and out-of-bounds exploits. I don't know which maps, but probably on some ground level maps to be specific.
That nigga
They
Vaughn
fixed the
jumped
sight
out his car and threw
misalignment
the
for the
throwing knife
laser
when you
sights
happened to be
on
here.
the P90 and the MP5.
I got 2
And
on me.
last but
Can I
not
get some
least,
assistance,
Spec
please?
Ops, they made minor adjustments to difficulty. Definitely sounds like bullshit, but I have to say everything else besides the free-for-all joining in progress was done, you know, done right. And yeah, that's all I have to say. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Y'all be safe.
We left
I'm
0
out.
to win the marbles. That's our damn fault.